Hi, chat. Welcome again to another of what's going to be like for the next 2 weeks, kind of like a refugee stream. So, sorry, I know it's giving off like MLC vibes a little bit, but it's what we got to work with tonight. The movers come tomorrow, so all the desktops torn down, everything is ready to go, and we are getting ready. And see if I can move this away a little bit. There we go. It's kind of weird. That's my Zoom right now. Is a more effective Zoom is just like pushing it forward or back. So welcome to the show. Hope you guys are doing well. It's later day. We can see up your nose. I know. Sit closer to the camera. Am I still in Ohio? Yes, for now. Next 2 weeks, I'm going to be, actually, we're probably going to move to the kitchen because there are going to be no more tables. Literally everything goes tomorrow. That's not what I need to survive on for the next couple of weeks. It's basically just like me and a pile of guns and ammunition that I have to move down on my own. So it'll be fun. It will be fun. Did I pack my swords away already? It's National Cool Sword Day. Yes. Yes, I will. Let's see. Would Count Dankula making the Cyrax video today? Oh, whoa. Wow, if he's digging into the sector like that, oh man. Yeah, Count Dankula's done a lot about Ohio. Like, he's covered all kinds of shit in Ohio so far. So that'll be kind of funny to see that. I have not seen it yet, but that's awesome. That is awesome today. First of my name in both Florida and Ohio, yes. Very, very true. Guns, ammo, and air mattress, the only thing left. Yeah, laptop and clothes for like 2 weeks. Really, just I got a couple. I got one jacket, a couple pairs of dress pants, 2 or 3 dress. I think I got 3 dress shirts, and I'll just, I'm not worried about like repeating patterns or repeating things in a week. So I'll just change them out, throw them in the wash one night and be all done. So that's kind of where we are. Yes, Count Cyraxula. Oh, that's a scary thing. That's a scary thing. I have one pair of underwear. I have a couple of those. Which county am I going to? I can't tell you. We like our privacy a little bit. Just a little bit. EDW Raptor for $5. Well, we got to get to the first one instead, actually. Peens for Brody. Well, we don't have a Brody. We have... yes. Peens for Brody, thank you. If you guys didn't know, we have a new, probably coming with this dog to Florida, Brody, the mini pin Chihuahua mix. You guys would have seen him last night. He's the little guy that's got a very big old frosty face. Right now, I've got the door closed because he is helping Lainey howl the song of their people, and it's rather loud. And then EDW up for $5 a second time, trying to get counted for the goal. Peens for Brody. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so we got another dog who wants all kinds of peens. What do you mean probably? Well, Brody's 2.0 was overseeing somebody, and they foster animals, and Brody was a dog they were fostering. And they've had Brody for a couple of years now. And Brody came over and jumped up in 2.0's lap. And, they were kind of like, if you'd like them, certainly, that would allow them to foster another dog. So it's, we're leaving it up to Brody's foster if they want to keep him or not. Certainly, we will, we'll work with them on that. Do we know Brody's story? No. How yappy is he? He's a Chihuahua. He's part Chihuahua. He barks his fucking head off. He barks his head off all the time. Katie says, my monthly member free chat is broken. I want a refund. Well, sorry. Just pack him. Well, we'll see. Benjamin Lewis says, where are we going? Well, we're going to be on the East Coast. That's where I think we'll stay for now. I'm sure people will figure it out at some point. And then SB Sellers testing if the goal counter hates EDW. Well, it might. It might. Smog and Mog's been a member for 25 months. That's freaking time. Thank you for being here. It says, "Oh well, get on, Katie." Yes. Stacey says, "Is he an old man?" Yeah, he's like, we don't know for sure because he was a rescue. So he's probably anywhere from like 7 or 8 to 11, and we think he's closer to the 7 or 8 range because he's still got a lot of spunk, and he like runs around and jumps up and wagging his tail and wants to play. Like he's like Clyde. Clyde's about 7. Yeah, hold on. We got him 2023 or no 4. Yeah, we've had Clyde for 2 years. He's about 7, almost 8. Or about the same age, roughly. So we think so. But he's got we saw his face last night. He got a big old frosty face. He's an older man. He's not all the way an old man yet. Can we do a Daniel Larson stream since he's getting out soon? Yes. Well, we're also going to do a Shiloh Hendrix stream coming up because, long story short, she's going to trial. Her motions to dismiss failed, but we're going to read through those coming up one night, probably next week. Pack him. It's him or Bonbon. Well, he's actually like bigger than Bonbon. He's like about half of Clyde. Clyde weighs 20 pounds. Laney weighs 20 pounds. Brody's like 10-ish. So he's a lot more than Bonbon. I know where all the good Buffets are in North Florida. I'm kind of a big deal. Well, trying to work on. I haven't been to we're cutting back on all that shit. So trying to work on things. He's going to get about 27 months with 23 served. Ooh, nice. Am I going to go to Miami-Dade County working for the Cuban Mafia? That'd be interesting. Am I going to go to take over the golden EIB microphone and broadcast from sunny South Florida? Well, I'm not going to be in South Florida. Rush was in West Palm Beach, I think. So no, I'm not going to be at the EIB Southern Command, but we are going to be at the potentially criminal, Central Command. And then amateur iconoclast is for the goal. Well, thank you. Fix the goal counter, yeah. Yes, RIP, RIP for Kyle Busch. Passed away today. And, it's crazy. He's like my age, 41. And apparently people are saying like he had some like kidney problems or some sort of medical issue that was chronically ailing him. So who knows? But yeah, it really sucks. Really sucks. Big loss. Probably one of the last great racers NASCAR's had that was racing in the circuit. And it's a shame because, he was kind of the last of that breed. It's also the EBT mic. Now, if it's really that bad, guys, I'll go on Amazon after this is over and get a mic and order one that I can plug in and it'll, I don't know, clip onto the laptop or something. We'll do something about that. Let's see. Sean cut his limit to 8 sandwiches a week, down from 15. Well, that's a lot, actually, when you think about it. Wait, no, who's Daniel Larson? You have a lot to learn there. You have a lot to learn. Brewberry says Brody should have peens by now. Well, he's we just got him yesterday, so not yet. Everything's packed up. Like literally everything is put away. Thought it was pneumonia. Not sure. Fair Frozen said, "Did you see that guy limping, running from the FBI?" No, I don't know who or what you're talking about. So no, I did not. And then Jillian, for $2 saying, "Tell me something good, Sean." I got some good stuff here. We got some good stuff tonight. Make an Amazon wish list so we can donate towards the stuff you want. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, all kinds of stuff out there. Let's see. Orville says, "Did we figure out why Chud had a gun?" I don't know, but we're going to get to that. Here. Watching Star Trek 5. Lol. Well, the dude in flip-flops. I'm not sure which thing you guys are talking about there. Spain tried chasing British subs docking at Gibraltar. That's funny. The same audio quality as OG $30 Amazon mic streams. Yeah, it was when I had the mic that sat on the counter, or that sat on the desk here, And every time I put my hand down, it would like, So, are you going to help college law students do mock trial in Florida? I mean, all that sounds like fun. All that sounds like fun. Just not right this second, but yeah. Once you set up your PO box, can we send you gifts? Sure. Yes. Let's see here. Diane says Kyle Busch might have had a blood clot in his sinuses from a sinus infection got on hand. Ooh, that's rough to go. That's a rough way to go. That's a rough way to go. They're saying that, yeah, the stress from the race could have contributed. Yeah, I mean, all that, it could definitely do it. It could definitely do it. So, anyway, let's get to the show, guys. It's 10 minutes in. It is time to roll. And we are going to start with Chud the Builder. Now, I know some people have said I haven't done an update or really talked about Chud the Builder yet, but we're going to get to it now. So, Chud the Builder, if you guys don't remember, he is the live streamer who likes to go around calling people the N-word and then trying to get, especially, mainly black people, calls them the N-word and tries to get them to, as he likes to call it, chimp out. He likes to get them to start acting up, and when they act up, if they try to lay hands on him, he has been documented before on camera, macing people. And if they really try to get up on him, he displays a firearm. And that's where you're like, okay, well, is that really what we want to be doing in society? Well, that's what Chud does. That's his shtick. Some people do different things, but that is Chud's streaming content, really. And you might say, wow, he just sounds like kind of like a gooberier version of Nick Fuentes on America First. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he is an America First dude. And yeah, yeah. Now, so what happened a couple days ago, Chud was at a courthouse, Clarksville, Tennessee, and he got into a fight with somebody. And there isn't we have some video of it. And the video is not the best. The video is not the best because what we can see, it's from across the street and there's no audio, but we do have some of the video. We do have some of it here. And why is it not loading? I tried to click on it. So sorry, chat. Yeah, here we go. This is the audio or video of it. We don't have the audio, but it gives us a little bit to this. And some of you guys are asking questions about how he got a gun in the courthouse. I'm going to answer that as well here in a second. But this is from across the street. This is Chud getting put onto a stretcher in an ambulance because he got shot by himself in the suing struggle. But we'll talk about that too in a second. So as you can see, there's some sort of fight going on. And then there's, obviously in the middle of all that, that's where it's happening. And now you can see everybody scattering around. Cops are showing up. And some of you might say, why were the cops there right away? Because this is in front of a courthouse. So guess who's at a courthouse? Police officers. And they all swarm the scene. Now, Chud shot a guy, and Chud also got shot. And some of you might say, well, how does that happen? Well, it's not uncommon in self-defense shootings to shoot yourself. And if you guys ever watch shooting videos on YouTube or you're ever watching people shoot, especially if they're shooting and they're only using one hand, you typically, and this is something that's trained because it makes sense, you take your other hand and you keep it to your chest and you put it here as you're engaging targets. Because a common thing is if your other hand's free and you're not putting it onto your gun, what will you do with this hand? Well, a very likely outcome is you'll take this hand and you might start defending yourself with it. And if you start shooting, well, now guess what? I'm now shooting towards my hand. I could put a round through my hand, something like that. Now, if you fall to the ground and you start shooting, well, guess what? If you're on your back, think about it. You could shoot into your legs. There's a bunch of different ways you could end up getting shot as you're holding the firearm. You might be just trying to save it and, whatever way it's going when it happens. So that's not uncommon. Now, why did he have a gun? Well, he was there for court and Chud had an issue where he basically dined and dashed. And in Tennessee, apparently, and I guess at this courthouse they set it up, your gun at the door. Basically, you could check your gun at the door. I wish we could do that here in Ohio. That's not the case. I wish there were places that would allow that, but it can happen. So from there, we now get to the actual affidavit or complaint that had been filed. And this is interesting, and we are going to take a look at this here, and I want you guys to see it. It's very bare bones. But keep in mind, it doesn't have to do a whole lot yet. It doesn't have to do a whole lot yet. And this is from a channel on Twitter called Paranormal Chris. This guy, you know, what better way to put your watermark than like right there through it? So that's how this works. Now, we're going to go through this real quick here and discuss what actually happened so far. What are the police saying? So they're saying that on or about May 13th, a guy named Dalton Levi Etherly, which is Chud the Builder's government name, has been accused of the following: criminal attempt for murder 1. Employing a firearm during a dangerous felony, which is attempted murder. Reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon. Aggravated assault for serious bodily injury. Now, guys, remember, every state does things differently. So, for example, in many states, they follow traditional common law that if I display a firearm and threaten you, that's assault. Remember, here in Ohio, assault is the actual striking and causing harm. In Ohio, threatening to cause harm is menacing. So just keep in mind, like, depending on where you live, these may be different terms. So don't worry about, like, they didn't mischarge this. This is what they're using Tennessee law for. So they're stating that they believe the facts are this at this point here. So they're saying on May 13th at about 1:20 in the afternoon, Chud and a guy named Joshua Fox, who's a black guy, engaged in a verbal altercation in front of the Montgomery County Courthouse. Now, during the altercation, Chud turned his body in a bladed stance towards Fox and reached for his firearm. Now, what does blading mean? Blading means you just turn sideways a little bit. And more of, when you think about this is just more of getting into a fighting stance. Because you generally don't fight people just squared up to them. You might get into like a boxer stance. Or if you're getting a firearm, you might turn and be what's called bladed. Because now I'm a little skinnier. For me, it's not really the case. But it allows you to get a little skinnier than what you were before if you're sitting here face on. So he was then reaching for his firearm. Now, from here, the firearm's located in his right jacket pocket. Thereafter, a physical altercation ensued. Chud discharged his firearm, striking Fox multiple times. As a result of being shot, Fox was life-flighted to Vanderbilt and underwent surgery. In addition, at the time shots were fired, there were several innocent bystanders in the area. Surveillance video of the incident shows a ricocheting projectile hitting nearby walls. And they're claiming that he employed a firearm during the commission of a dangerous felony, attempted murder. And this was signed by one of the police officers here, and this is just their probable cause determination. And they go on through here. So that's where this starts. I'm too squared to blade. Yes, very true. Now, from here, though, Chud's bond was set at $1.25 million. He did have a bond hearing today. And in that bond hearing, there was some information we have learned. And there is a Twitter account that followed it. And they talk about what happened here. And here's where we go on this. This is the Outspoken You. Apparently, this person's account of what happened was actually pretty accurate. So his bond is kept at $1.25 million. I heard it's been reduced to $1 million. So we'll leave that alone. But anyways, there were some things here. The preliminary hearing is set for May 26th. He does have a thing here. He does have a high bond. And, people would say, well, wait, other people in his situation didn't get as high a bond. Yeah, but at this point, he's also out on bond for another case. Does this. There's a lot of problems with it. So from here, getting into the story here, they talk about what actually happened today. Now, this is Chud coming into court. And honestly, you can look at him. I'm sure he's sitting there thinking, God dang, I shouldn't have done this. I really screwed up. This isn't fun. Wow, carrying a gun and threatening to shoot people is not fun when you actually have to do it. You look at him, he is not thrilled. He is not thrilled. I thought you weren't allowed to have guns on bond. Well, he had a misdemeanor basically for a theft for dine and dash. So for basic misdemeanor bond, that's usually not a problem. That's usually not a problem here. But what do we know so far? So there are some findings. The cops are talking about some of the stuff that happened. And one of the things that happened here was they found a bulletproof vest in the car. Now you might say, well, what does a bulletproof vest actually mean? Nothing really. It shouldn't mean anything. It shouldn't mean anything to anybody. But for right now, remember, the state is going to use everything they can to make you look like a bad person. So, oh no, he had a dangerous bulletproof vest. And he had airline tickets to Istanbul. It's Constantinople, by the way, Turkey. But look, remember, guys, I've told you this before. I've told you everything here, and you need to understand this. Everything you say and or do will be used against you. He had plane tickets. He was going to go on a trip. Maybe it's been scheduled for 6 months. You're a flight risk now. Maybe you were going to commit this murder and then hop a plane. You see what they can do with that? You see what they can do with that? You see what they could do with the bulletproof vest that you were looking for fights and you were looking to do all kinds of evil, nefarious things here. So remember, be careful. Everything you say and do can and will be used against you. It's just something to keep in mind, guys. Something to keep in mind. Now, what happens from here? Well, he got charged with all this, and they talk about his bond here. So the judge reset it to $1 million, citing state law requiring that amount. Okay. And honestly, guys, if you get into a shooting where you're kind of accused of killing somebody or attempting to kill someone, you should be prepared. It's going to be like $1 million. Maybe you get lucky and it gets set like $250,000. Some of you might say, well, that sounds awful. Yeah, it does. And $250,000 where you got to pony up 25 G's to a bail bondsman. Oh God, that's going to be awful. But you know what? It's better than having to pony up $1 million to a bail, like get $100,000 to a bail bondsman. Remember, that 10% you get to a bondsman, you never get that back. So just $100,000 just gone forever. So they talk about there are surveillance cameras that documented the shooting. And there are surveillance cameras that documented, apparently. They claim, though, the investigators testified at this hearing that Chud approached this guy who was at court that day for a child support hearing. So he was there for his own stuff. I don't know if that's true or not. Although it sounds like the initial story of this guy saying he was going to show up to screw with Chud. I don't know if that's true. It sounds like this might have been an opportunity or something. But what was Chud doing? Chud was doing the terminally online thing. Walking around with a selfie stick in his hand. Because that's what Chud does. Walks around with a selfie stick and just, hey, look at these N-words. Oh, wow, why are you guys so mad? So after the verbal altercation, Chud walked away. Fox then approached him. Now that's good for Chud. If he was instigating and he was provoking, remember, depending on what he said, if he had walked away and left it alone, remember, if you are in a self-defense situation, generally speaking, and you're considered the instigator, you have to disengage and basically retreat and create some distance and get away from the fight. Well, it sounds like here the fight came looking for him, which is really good. This is a massive benefit to Chud. Now, is it enough? I don't know. And we'll talk about what I think is going to happen here, what I think so far. According to the arrest warrant, Chud then turned his body in a bladed stance, which is, they're just pointing out technically, yes. He got back and got ready. He's holding his selfie stick and he gets ready to grab a gun. Now, what's the interesting part here? He was trying to pull his gun out of his jacket pocket, and Chud later claimed he was reaching for the mace he normally carries. Well, that's a problem. Don't just carry it in your pocket. Carry it in a holster. Holsters are meant to hold weapons. Your pocket is not meant to hold a weapon. So, yeah, you're trying to fish your gun out of your pocket. Guess what? Like, I don't know exactly what he's carrying, but you're carrying a revolver, carrying a 38 with a hammer on it, or even just, anything that's got edges on it, it's going to start catching and You're like, oh God, I will. Oh my God, I really need it. Why isn't it? You know what happens if you have a holster? Oh my God, I need it. It's out. It's out. If you really need it and it's in your pocket, you're going to be like that guy in Collateral where you're grabbing for your gun and you get smoked. He claimed he was reaching for a mace he normally carries. That said, though, a firearm's drawn, not mace. And Chud told the investigators that his mace had been previously taken. The footage has no audio, so they can't determine what was said during the argument. The attorney, Jake Fendley, who represents Chud, said that Chud was placed in a headlock during the struggle, but, the cops saying we can't see that. Now, it's going to be courthouse cameras. They should be really good. The cops do testify once the fight began. Fox took Chud to the ground and that a bullet could be seen ricocheting as they fell. Several shell cases recovered at the scene, all 7 from the same gun. Fox was shot in the torso and arm. And they say that he was alert when they reached him. They saw no exit wounds and suspected internal bleeding. And then Chud also suffered a gunshot wound from shooting himself in the arm. Which, once again, guys, that's what happens. You are going to, if you're wrestling somebody, you're like, oh, get away. Bam. That's why. And if you guys have ever seen people doing the shooting drill where you smack the target to create distance and you shoot from basically retention, you're shooting like at this angle right here, down at your waistline. You're shooting like at this angle here. You see people, they say, check safety, fire, bang. And it's just so you would practice. Because when you do it for real, there's going to be no safety, but you don't want to shoot yourself while you're practicing. There's a lot that happened here, and we still don't know. We still don't know. We still don't know enough, but it tells us a little bit. Now, here's the thing. If Chud has a camera and he's streaming, that tells us a lot that there's probably video. Now, allegedly, I think he was set to have a live stream with, allegedly, it was like Harrison Smith from InfoWars. We don't know if that actually happened yet or if he was getting ready to stream for himself. Either way, it sounds like he was trying to get ready to do something with a selfie stick. But the courthouse footage has no audio, and that's not uncommon. It's just surveillance cameras. So what do? Well, they searched for weapons, and they found all kinds of stuff. So they searched Chud's truck at his home, and you guys, they are going to get a search. If you shoot somebody, they're going to get a search warrant. You should be prepared that's going to happen. They found plane tickets dated for May 22nd, less than a week later. Now, is that probably already something that was done in advance? Sure, but once again, they're going to use everything in a negative light. They're going to say, you're a flight risk. They also recovered Chud's electronic devices for evidence. So guess what? His cell phones, his computers, all that's taken. They're getting search warrants for all of it. They noted that there was no mace found at the scene in the truck or his home. Once again, they're going to use all this information to portray him in a bad light. That, he used to have mace, but he said, screw it, I want to kill a black person. So then he just carried his gun and he limited his thing. And that's one of the problems when you carry multiple items if you are a civilian. If you're a cop, you have the ability to say, I'm trained on a force continuum. We have a force continuum and how it operates and all the different dimensions of it. As a civilian, if you carry a taser and you shoot somebody, prosecutor, all it takes the prosecutor to say, I think you should have used a taser. I'm charging you. Why didn't you use the mace? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? That's why as a civilian, you should just be carrying a gun. Now, the problem for Chud is he knew that he was always looking for fights and getting into trouble, so carrying a gun isn't a good idea. So that's why he had mace with him. Well, that's what happens here. Now, the mobile forensics investigators showed the court inflammatory racial videos. Remember, they're going to show you in the worst light possible, and guess what? They're showing Chud in an awful light and suffer. If you don't think you're going to be able to say all this crap and nobody's ever going to find out about it or they can't use it against you, I got news for you. They say social media posts made in the weeks up to the shooting. Yeah, once again, guys, if you don't want it to be used against you in a deposition or a bond hearing, you shouldn't say it. One highlighted post from early May, well, remember, this happened May 13th, so within the same 2 weeks, that he would use lethal force and walk away free. Yeah. It's a real thing here. Body camera footage from the day was also played. What does body camera footage show? Chud told an officer he hit me, started wailing on me, and I had to defend myself. Now, the officer noted that Chud did not mention any threats at that time. You don't have to have threats, and we'll get to why this could be an argument for Chud. So during the hearing, 2 people were escorted out of the courtroom for disrupting proceedings. One of them was Jake Lang, the guy who keeps on showing up in places acting like a douchebag. Chud's stepfather and his brother testified that Chud had lived in Clarksville his whole life. They had family in the area. He owns a business. He has no prior convictions, and it'd be reliable to appear in court. And that's how you establish bond. Your Honor, he's a member of the community. He has family. He has obligations and a business, and you try to do everything you can. He has no criminal record. He's always appeared for everything that he has. If he does have, Your Honor, he's got traffic tickets. Guess what he does every time, Your Honor? Dude shows up. All those things you do. Now, the district attorney's office showed up, and they said that the videos are for provocation, profit, and that public safety, not just flight risk, should guide the bond decision, and that's true. Nash requested a GPS monitor, no access to weapons, and a gag order. Now, I don't think there should be a gag order. But remember, they're going to use all your words against you, especially at this stage. Whether or not this all comes at a trial is a whole nother issue. But they have an unarmed man who was shot and an armed man whose whole life is to provoke that man who was shot or a man just like him. Remember, they'll use everything they can. So, they said the ticket included a return flight and did not indicate attempt flee, though. But yeah, you know what, though? It could happen. Court could say he doesn't have to come back. The defense attorney's going to do what he can to paint that a different way. So the judge reset the bond and explained to state law if a defendant is out on bond or on other charges, the bond for the new charge must be at least 2 times the customary amount. Chud was out on bond from an arrest in Nashville when the shooting took place. Yes. So what happens if he is out on bond? He has to wear a GPS monitor. He must relinquish all weapons and firearms and be under a gag order with no interviews or social media activity about the incident, which I don't know if that's going to work. That's a massive prior restraint here. It's one thing to restrain the attorneys, but the Chud, that's where I think we're stepping on the problem here. The gag order applies to all witnesses in the case. Well, I don't think that's legal either. We're kind of running into territory of Tyler Robinson, where they were trying to get all these people held under a gag order. It's like, you can't do that. It also comes into Aaron Spencer down in Arkansas, where they tried to gag order all the people there. And you're like, you can't do this. Can't do that. Now, the judge said something here, which I don't know how he's going to make the legal argument for this. He said that no money raised through crowdfunding after May 13th could be used toward bond. And he said that a circuit court judge will take that matter up in a sourcing hearing. Now, I'd like to think that, that creates a massive problem, though, when you're in these situations, because what did we see during the summer of 2025? We saw these various bail projects that were out there, where left-wing groups were posting bail for people on their behalf. Are we now saying that those things aren't legal or permissible? I don't think so. I think that would be a massive problem. Also, that's an 8th Amendment violation. He has the right to post bail. If everybody in the community wants to give him money, who's the court to stop for that? So at this time, though, he was escorted back to the jail, and that's what happens. When no bond posted yet, you go back to jail. So we'll see what happens for Chud. We'll see what happens there. And, we'll kind of end on this thing here. Here's Chud. He's not looking too confident right now. And, yeah, when those doors close behind you, it's a different game. It's a different game. It's very bad. Now, what happens otherwise from here? Well, there are some things I think that are correct, and Andrew Branca is right. There's no indication in the affidavit that Chud was walking around screaming the N-word or antagonizing people. Although, based on what the police have said, Chud's walking around with a selfie stick going like, look at my selfie stick, Well, this is going to be a problem for Chud. Now, does he have some things in his favor? Yeah, if he said stuff then walked away and the guy comes up to him and starts fighting him, yeah, Chud could claim, like, I was not the aggressor anymore. And once he's on the ground and this guy's on top of him and beating him, yeah, is there an argument you could say? Yes, hey, man, when you get taken to the ground, if you're in a street fight, going to the ground is dangerous. You don't Brazilian jiu-jitsu people. Most of the time in a ground fight, the guy who gets taken to the ground gets his like head stomped in or his teeth knocked out because somebody grabs you by the head and starts smashing you on the ground. Like, there are no rules in those fights. So, yeah, maybe you can, like, armbar somebody, but the more likely thing they're going to do is they're just going to start, them or their buddies, they just start river dancing on you. And, yes, that's a very dangerous thing, and you have the right to fight back. But once again, Chud has a lot of problems here. And one of the biggest ones is a jury might just look at him and say, we don't like you. And I know people don't want to address that fact, but that's a real fact for Chud, that he's going to be very unsavory to a jury. He's going to be very, very unsavory to a jury. So regardless of what's going on here, I think the odds are not in Chud's favor still. There's a whole lot here. I don't know what's going to happen. And if this does, I just don't have enough information yet. I don't have enough information yet to say what's right or wrong on this. So we're just going to have to hang tight. Now, there was an update to some things here, and I was really disappointed when I saw this. And this is from his attorneys. And they put this out to the press on their Facebook page. And I was offended by reading this. Ultimately. I was offended by reading this. And this really, really, really got me upset reading it. So this is Chud's attorneys, and they say attorneys have very strict guidelines of what we're allowed to say to the press. Oh, God, they are barking their heads off. And they're saying, so I can't share much about the case. Yeah, there are limits. I would like to take the opportunity to address some of the hateful calls and emails my office has been receiving since I've been appointed to be Chud's attorney. Now, remember, Chud don't have the money to get out on bond. He ain't going to have the money for a lawyer. My entire firm is being called racist. I'm disappointed given my history of dedication to my clients, which includes all people of all skin colors. You know what you could say here? Like, look at all this. Look at it. Blah, 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 blah. Goes on to another page. Blah, 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 blah. You know what you do? Like, you don't have to explain things away. Here's an easy answer. I represent people. If you don't like that, fuck you. I do my job. This is just muling pussy babble. Really, just quit being a puss, guys. Our individual rights secured by our constitutions and have endured relentless attacks. It's a defense bar who holds that line. It seems now some people who we have so fervently defended now turn against one of its defenders because we're not afraid to stand up and represent someone so popular. To be called racist is an awful thing to me. I was raised to do the right thing. My grandfather taught high school and coached basketball during racial integration. He allowed his best athletes to play regardless of skin color. And because of his choices, he was referred to as the N-word coach. Oh, I love black people. I have black friends. My grandpa put black kids on the football team. So ridiculous, man. Just stand on your business. Just stand on your business. This is pathetic. This is pathetic here. Because this is starting to spool up. From there. I'm proud of him for having the courage to do the right thing. I'm just as proud of his action in that regard as I am his service in the Korean War. Blah, blah, blah. No one cares. My father is an attorney. Largely driven to do so through my grandfather, his father. Yeah, that's how that works. I guess we can make a joke in Tennessee that this is a family tree thing here. He instilled in me a sense of justice that is unshakable. So did my dad. He has consistently stood for those who couldn't stand up for themselves. He spent a significant portion of his career litigating against insurance companies. Who cares? I'm proud to carry on that tradition. But rather than fighting the corporate mobsters who hold so much power and influence over our lives and laws, I've elected to fight and defend our liberties from government overreach. Bro, no. You're not like, I'm going out. My dad fought the banksters, chat. Aren't we woke? Please don't burn down our office. Puss. Puss, puss, puss. You know, I've represented people from all walks of life, colors, religions, and affiliations. I will continue to do so. Representing a Baptist doesn't make me a Baptist. Representing a Crip doesn't make me a Crip. That's true. I've represented Crips. I've represented Bloods. I've represented Southside folk, the folk nation. I've represented Aryan Brotherhood guys. You just represent everybody. Anyone assumes any one of my staff or I are racist because I'm cast to do some opinions and actions are controversial is ridiculous. Why are you doing this? Why are you trying to justify yourself to these people? They don't care. They don't worry about you. This is just ridiculous. I mean, honestly, if I was Chud, I think he should like get into attorney. This guy is not in the fight. This guy's making it way too much about himself. It's like, buddy, come on. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. You know, nobody cares. And these people that you're upset at you, the people who are threatening to kill you, well, number one, they ain't gonna do it. I mean, that's the thing. Like that's why, like, I get like when people keep on saying they receive death threats, especially on the internet, like, oh, I'm getting death threats. I'm like, I'm bored. Somebody calls me like, Sean, I'm going to kill you. I'd be like, let me know when you're stopping by. I'll bring my tools out front. Like, we'll have a party. We'll have a party, bro. You know, like, I don't get that. I'm so scared. It's like, stop. I came to represent Chud after the public defender filed a motion to withdraw. I'm sure they did. Although I wonder if the motion withdraws because they represented Fox previously. Who knows? In this motion, it was alleged that the private bar, which I'm a member, lacked the fortitude to represent Chud due to his unpopularity. I decided to prove him wrong. Okay, well, what? No, why are you? You decided to prove the public defender wrong, not I want to represent this man. He just called all of us out for being a bunch of pussies, and I'm like, no, how dare you? I'm defending the bar's reputation. This is not the man. This man is not worried about defending Chud. Man's not worried about defending Chud here. So, this is just ridiculous. If people are serious, they will. Yeah, but most people aren't serious. Most people are shit talkers. People aren't coming after me. People ain't coming after you. They're all hat and no cattle, as Texans would say. That's who they are. So the role of a defense attorney is represent people regardless of their race, religion, or allegations against them. True. To assume an attorney agrees with the actions of the accused is preposterous. You don't have to justify yourself to these people. There are good men and women defending people accused of heinous crimes against children every day. There's no assumption that they endorse those crimes. This entire case is disturbing. This is like, are you now, and the entire case, no, it's not. Are you representing Chud or are you representing the community in the bar? Racism is a terrible thing, and it's a flawed method of thinking. This attorney is now not backing up his client. And you should never be on the record in front of people bad-mouthing your client. This right here, I think, is actually sanctionable conduct by the defense attorney. He should be reprimanded for that. You can't be saying this about your client like this. You can't be doing this to him. This is not. Why are you saying this all out in the open anyway? They say, we are all the same race, we just have different skin tones. To a very large extent, people this color of this country have had more charges and difficulties than the vast majority of white folks. Once again, why are you getting involved like this? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? To accentuate the point, the Supreme Court has decided that law enforcement, particularly ICE, are allowed to make traffic stops based on skin tone. This is commonly referred to as a Kavanaugh stop. Occupation, skin tone, and location is enough for a traffic stop to check if someone's a legal resident. Yeah. The normal standard is there must be reasonable suspicion. This is a major blow against the freedom we so cherish dearly. Once again, whose side are you on right now? Whose side are you on right now? More recently, and just as disturbing, a new decision from SCOTUS may usher in a new era of gerrymandering. What are you doing? What are you doing right now? Whose side are you on? What does this have to do with your client's case? You can't be doing this to hope people don't burn down your office. If you're that worried, don't take the job. It's shameful we regress so much as a nation that our leaders are allowing state governments to systematically silence minorities and render their votes meaningless. Our leaders think this is acceptable. This is why our country is losing a lot of integrity, both domestically and abroad. If Chud is famous for being a racist, it is certainly a symptom of our country's crisis and not the crisis itself. This guy must act like he thinks his job is to plead Chud out. I think this guy thinks his job is to plead Chud out. This guy's not interested in defending Chud. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. The anger we feel perhaps would be better directed towards the men and women in charge who continue and encourage and sanction behavior of this nature. When I have been chosen to defend a fellow citizen, I will not back down. I will not cower in the face of adversity. It sounds like you are, buddy. It sounds like you're backing down and cowering. I will not be silenced by popular opinion. I know it sounds like you are. It sounds like you're doing whatever, saying whatever you can to hope they don't burn your house down. I will fight for the people of our nation until I cannot fight anymore. Deeds, not words, buddy. Deeds, not words, counselor. You know, acta non verba. Deeds, not words. I don't know if Chud knows about this, but this is actually problematic things. This is not acceptable. This is not acceptable conduct. I mean, this guy is not in this to protect his client. I'm very concerned. I think this is wrong. I think this is wrong. I think this is unacceptable conduct. And not at all. You know, this guy, and like we'll pull it up here. We'll pull it up. You know, this is Chud's attorney right here, right now. And this guy's appointed. So he's not even hired. But this guy sounds like a major pudwhack right now. So he's a father of four, began working at the age of 18. He started at the bottom as a legal runner, then a paralegal. He founded his own law firm. He attended law school at Nashville School of Law. Well, hey, we all can't go to Toledo. Let's see here. Oh, he's an or an Abe Martin Hubbledale, preeminent, lawyer, which means he paid money for that. Let's see. He went to Austin P. Let's see here. His sister. Okay. The first siblings graduated simultaneously from school. They sat for the bar exam in 2012 and passed on their first attempt. Let's see here. He's currently one of the 3 best rated criminal defense attorneys in Clarksville by 3bestrated.com. Well, I wonder who owns the 3 best rated. But yeah, this is I'm a super lawyer. Source me. Yes, that's a thing here. Yeah, are they twins? I don't know. Let's see. About Elizabeth Fendley Birch. Nope, they're not twins. Let's see. So, and who's the other attorney here? Mart. Will it actually be Martin, or is it just Mart? Anyway, sounds like it's their dad. So they're at their firm. So, who puts a bar exam as they pass their first attempt on their bio? I mean, I don't know, but it's just none of that made me feel good about this guy. This guy's going to go in there and try to pressure Chud into taking a plea. Whether or not Chud should take a plea is Chud's decision. But this is just hot, steaming garbage. Hot steaming garbage. Shouldn't be doing this at all. Shouldn't be doing this at all. Propagandist is saying he's a true public pretender. Yes, this guy sounds like a public pretender. He's not actually in it to fight. Nobody cares. It doesn't matter what, like, my politics don't matter when I'm representing somebody. Whether they pay me or I'm appointed. My politics don't matter. And their politics don't matter to me. I have a job to do. Do I want to do the job? Yes or no? If yes, you take the money and you shut your fucking mouth and you do the work. If you don't want to do it, you don't take the money and you go on with your life. It's simple things. It's a simple process tree. Do you want the job or not? If you don't, then you don't do it. This is just absolutely disgusting. I'm very offended by it. Crystal says, how you doing, Crystal? Saying, hey, fam, Bruce Rivers doesn't like this Chud person. I'm not surprised that Bruce Rivers doesn't like Chud. Bruce Rivers is, got TDS a little bit, but honestly, do I like Chud? No. I think Chud's a pudwhack. Chud's hurting a lot of things. Chud's causing a lot of problems. Chud's one of the people that all the left used to point out why gun-toting people, like people who carry guns, are gun-toting psychopaths. Like, yes. Do I think Chud's a moron? Yes. Should he have been doing what he's doing? No. Do I think he's pushing his luck and he might end up in prison over this? Yeah. Do I think he deserves it based on this? No. But he's not helping himself. Chugi Show for $5 says, if Clyde doesn't like Brody, he might tell Brody the Gators are friend-shaped. Clyde, where's your brother? And Clyde goes, who? I don't think Clyde will do that. Clyde's a good boy. Ludic Horsecock says, so is this the news streamer who shot his own leg? Right, yes. And then Mario, how you doing, man? Says, only because of the discovery, and it does seem overbroad regardless. I agree. Yeah, this gag order is ridiculous. I don't see how that works here. Connie Desquad for $5 says, so Zog Media and influencers are coalescing around this guy. Yup, this is an op. I mean, when you're part of America First, I assume you're an op anyway, because America First itself is an op. And Nick Fuentes is a glowy, so yes. I agree. Crystal, been a member for 13 months. Says, good morning, fam. Hope y'all are having a fabulous Friday. Well, remember, it's only Thursday here. And speaking of Thursday, chat, you know what that means when it's Thursday here in America. You can make it out to Stoney's Bar and Grill. That's right, chat. Stoney's at 158 East Broadway Street in Rockville, Minnesota, chat. It's your place to go when you're going to Stoney's Bar in, why did it just do that? It's Stoney's Bar out in beautiful Rockville, Minnesota. And guys, there's only, what work you want at Stoney's? Bike nights have begun. Hold on. Why is this not working? There we go. Bike nights have begun, chat. Thursdays are also the home of $2.50 cans. I mean, what more? Once again, chat, what more can you want? Tonight, they got Willie's Sandwich Shack out there. Bike night tonight. Saturday in the garage, they got John Thies from 2 to 5. And on Monday, Memorial Day, if you're out there, those of you who served, you want to raise a toast to the fallen, you can go out to Stoney's at 11 a.m. and start cracking them back and, toasting your comrades. June 13th, they have a motorcycle run leaving at noon, $20 a person. You get a free meal. And they're doing a Ride for Heroes for the first responders. We love our cops and we love our law enforcement and we love our firefighters. They are so important. All of that going on there. So you can do that. May 17th, chat, they already had it. They had a bike blessing. What better way to hope you don't, you keep it upright and off the ground than getting blessed by the religious cadre out there. Anyways, that's your place to go, chat. Stoney's, serving Minnesota for 30 years running. And also, chat, we have the dragonstreasure.com, your haven for tea and anime lovers. That's right, chat. Promo code criminal, 10% off store-wide. Jubal is no longer a code. And right now, chat, we are locked in an eternal struggle against mean copium and the copers. Think about it. They're known for coping. That's what they do. And they think coping is a meme. Well, yes, they are. They are a meme. They cope, and they are the meme. But chat, we are locked in an eternal struggle, and we will receive the ultimate victory. How? By using the promo code more and more and more than meme copium and their code COPE. So use promo code criminal, 10% off store-wide. And then chat, last but not least, MAF Corporation. Use a promo code POCCRIM for your wind chimes and wind chime accessories. Chat, it's Memorial Day. Summer has started. It's no longer spring anymore, man. You guys got to hit the ground running. Get those wind chimes out. We're coming down to Florida. We got our own. We're going to wind chime it up too. Remember, guys, down in Florida, help them out. MAF-arms.com. Promo code POCCRIM. So, there we go. Mario says, unless there's discovery that is given, the gag order could be okay. Like if there's an ongoing investigation. Yeah, but how do you know, what witnesses? Because, there might be witnesses that haven't been interviewed yet. I always think these are garbage. The gag order is sus unless. Yeah, maybe. Thomas Fitzpatrick says, you all ruined it. I'm taking my slurs and going home. Brimstone is saying, I'm admitting the justice system is garbage. Guys, it's not that it's garbage. It's the justice system is run by people. And jurors are people. And I said this before. And I think it's cool. I'm hearing it now by other commentators using this phrase. But jurors are normies. And here's the big thing. Unsavory to black jurors, unsavory to white jurors. Do you think Susie's soccer mom is going to be thrilled? Some guys running around just... You guys watch Chud's videos. N-word, N-word, N-word. Look at all these N-words. Wow, these N-words are mad. And he pulls out mace or he threatens them with guns. Do you think that stuff looks good? No, to regular people, this is insane behavior. It's insane behavior. Whether or not it's protected, they might think he's insane and dangerous and they vote guilty because they don't like him. And you know what happens there? Nothing you do about that one. So the way I say it, guys, you're upset at me because you want to jump out of an airplane without a parachute. And I'm here to tell you that gravity is real and it will kill you. And you're yelling at me because I'm telling you gravity is going to kill you. I'm just telling you how the world works. Telling you how the world works. It's up to you to navigate. So that's all I'm trying. That's all I'm trying to do here. Johan for $5. Thank you, Johan. Says, Count Dankula did a Mad Lads on Cyrax. That's the real reason I'm leaving Ohio. Sean doesn't want to live under the rule of King Cyrax. That's exactly it. That is exactly it. I don't want to. Jeez, they are going crazy. I don't know if you guys can hear them. But yes, King Cyrax, the king of Northern Ohio. Yes. I'll get out before Vivek appoints him to be lieutenant governor. Then Green Cap's locked. Been a member for 26 months. Thank you for being here, man. I appreciate it. 26 months. You guys, thank you guys all for being here. That's one of the most humbling things, you guys sticking around this long. It says, I went to the Stonies in Denver. It's a pretty cool place. Yes, there is a Stonies bar in Denver. So yes, if you Google for it. Oh. Brody's announcing his arrival in the neighborhood. Ski Man says, wow, you can hear the echo in the room. That's because this is empty now, man. You take down all those pictures that were on the walls. And then I have all the... I had all the sound padding on the walls, too. But you guys remember seeing those big squares of foam on the walls. All that stuff deadens your room. 2.0, I noticed this on Sunday afternoon. We were sitting there talking. We just noticed, in the, where our couch is, just heard, the wall. It was echoing off of everything. The whole room, the whole house echoes now. Her bedroom echoes, the living room, the kitchen echoes, her office echoes, in here echoes, everywhere echoes. The only place it doesn't echo is the garage because the garage is full of crap right now. Let's see here. There was a Stonies in DC. Really? Cool. Good to see you, by the way. Good to see you, by the way. But Bald Eagle says, Chud's lawyer not asking for a change of venue is further proof this is going to be a setup. Well, remember, though, asking for a change of venue, and we see this with like the DC January 6th cases and a lot of things, you've got like, you need like Richard Barris like levels of statistics and things to show you're not getting a fair trial. Brian Koberger was an example of getting that, and they had to do a lot of work. And the biggest problem is all that work costs money. So you're going to be hurting for that. You're going to be hurting for that, by the way. You're going to be hurting for that on everything here. But as I said, guys, if you want to know what I think about Chud right now, man, you better start praying to God, because I don't know if the facts are going to get better. And Runkle, good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Runkle, guys, Runkle the Bailey, find him over here on YouTube. Does his Monday stuff. And then I'm not sure if I know he's been feeling not 100%, so I hope he's feeling better. Chud's in a bad spot. Yeah, and the jury will convict you. I've told you guys this before. If the jury hates your guy, that's it. Remember, if the jury's mad and they want to be mad at somebody, it's like the Eye of Sauron. If they lock onto your guy, you're done. If you can get that Eye of Sauron just to and they focus on a witness or a possible other party, then you're safe. But Chud's got he's got his work cut out for him. And by the way, guys, you will see Runkle if you guys want to go see Bob Mata over at Defense Diaries this weekend from 10 a.m. Central to 10 p.m. Central Time. Basically 11 for those of you on the East Coast. They're doing a fundraiser for Aaron Spencer, the guy down in Arkansas, for his legal defense. Runkle, I think, is going to be part of that. I'm going to be on it as well. I'm going to be on probably around 3 o'clock. There are a million people coming on to hang out with Bob and Allie Mata and chop it up, as the kids say. I think the kids say chop it up. But we're going to go out there, hang out, try to raise some money for a good cause. So hope to see you guys over there. And hope you're doing well, Runkle. Yeah, free Aaron Spencer, yes. Yes. Was that a deliberate choice to use yes, right after Runkle's chat, kind of. Runkle says, also going to be a lot easier to get prejudicial commentary from Chud than stuff about the guy who got shot. Yeah, well, but I mean, ultimately, the biggest thing is, if this guy said a bunch of stuff to Chud and it kind of kicked off from there, that may be helpful, and Chud may not have to testify. The problem is, if Chud testifies, prosecutor's going to come up there and be like, you ever called black man the N-word before? And Chud's going to have to be like, yes. Do you do it a lot? And Chud's going to say yes. Is it part of your online persona? And if he starts lying, they're going to start playing all those videos of him saying the N-word over and over and over and over and over again. So Chud's got a lot of problems. Like him testifying is going to be very dangerous. Does Chud have a better shot at the bench trial? No, I would not want a bench trial here. I would not want a bench trial. You're better off taking your chances with a jury. Your mother says, what do you think about Bronca Sunshine pumping for Chud? I mean, honestly, you could say, they think Chud's got it. Chud's good to go. Sure. It's certainly possible. I don't agree with it, but, this is, you're like asking what's it going to look like after, we just had the kickoff and, the ball hasn't landed yet in the receiving team's hands. So I don't know what's going to happen. You're asking me how the game's going to end, and I don't know the score yet. I just don't think he's going to come out on top absent some big revelations. And based on the way his lawyers acted here with this statement, I'm not holding out hope this guy's actually going to fight. Like I said, I think he's going to pressure Chud into taking a plea. So I'm not expecting much from this attorney. I'm not expecting much. They're going to make Chud read his tweets, etc. Oh, yeah, they will. Yep, they'll make him read his tweets. They'll make him do all kinds of stuff. Crystal says, this is like Mark Furman vibes. Well, that's very appropriate because that's going to be our next story here. So they're also going to be able to ask him how much money he makes. Yep, they're going to ask all kinds of stuff. They're going to ask him all kinds of stuff. Orville says, what if Chud has Tourette's and it's all a horrible misunderstanding? Well, Involva says, normies don't believe in actual free speech. Well, they do, but it's, do people think that's acceptable to say? I mean, that's the problem. Everybody thinks they're down for rights until the rights get pushed. So, yeah, they won't. They won't. So, yeah, Brad, that's correct. We haven't seen his video yet. Who knows what happened? But I'm sure Chud's not just like, oh, guys, look, I had a great day. I was just in court. Hi, look at, there's all kinds of birds. And look at all the nice people that are. Hi, peoples. Hi, chat. I'm sure he wasn't doing that. I'm sure that wasn't happening. Afton is saying, how would fighting words apply here? Well, certainly they could argue, like if Chud tries to argue, I didn't provoke, I was merely stating words. Words are free speech. I can't, that's not provocations. Well, you kind of use fighting words as an example of the premise of he used words with the intent to breach the peace. And the idea is that he said these words with an intent to provoke. And if you say the N-word to black people, and use racial slurs to other peoples, you're gonna get them to provoke and respond. Well, that's kind of normal. Like that's a normal thing. That's an expected thing. That's what fighting words are. Now, is that something that's actually going to be argued in court specifically? No, but it's the idea that these words, he's intending people to breach the peace. As he says, he wants people to chimp out. And he gets upset. If you've watched some of these videos, when the black people just start laughing at him, he gets really kind of like, you can tell he's like, he wants them to get upset and attack him or do something, so he really leans into it. It's very clear what his game plan is, so it's going to hurt him a lot here. That's a shame for 1999. Says, wait, what the hell? How much have I missed? Where are you moving to? We're moving to Florida. Movers come tomorrow. 2.0 goes down this weekend with the doggos. And then I'm up here for 2 weeks wrapping up my business. So I got some court cases I couldn't get out of. I got some hearing dates that judge is like, no, you're, a couple of them like I'm retained on and we're like almost done. So like a couple of these things I can't just bail on. So I'm here till the 5th. And then the morning of the 5th at about 10 o'clock, I should be done with everything. I got a client on the 5th who we're set to get her into diversion. And that's already been set for like 2-3 months now. I want to see that one through because she's working really hard. I got another thing they threw in, a guy I'd represented before, caught probation violation. So I'm taking care of stuff. Friday morning on the 5th, about 10 o'clock or so, I'm hopping in the car. The car's going to be loaded up in the court parking lot. I'm driving to court with a bunch of guns. Hopping in the car. The lake is only about a mile away. I'll drive up to the lake, turn around, and head back south. So you're getting married Saturday. Congratulations. Hope you're doing well. Congratulations, Mom. Congrats to you and your groom. Hope you many. Hold on. What would Saturday be? The 23rd. May your wedding anniversary be one you cherish for the next 50 years. So, congratulations. P.S. Remember when that witness in the Taylorship business case said they were just hanging, chopping it up that night? I do now, yes. But anyways, congrats. Many blessings to your family. Chud and his N-word vids will be like, look him low, Lisa. God, now you got that brainworm back in my ear. Just as it had gone away. But just a bunch of N-words over and over and over in the courtroom, yeah. Marlene wants to know about the fundraiser. Yeah, guys, Defense Diaries, Bob Mata and Ali Mata, they are hosting a fundraiser for Aaron Spencer on Saturday from 10 a.m. So basically 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern time. And they are, God, these dogs are going to run out of, they're going to use up all their voices. So what is happening here, guys? There is a fundraiser for Aaron Spencer and his family. This is going to be Defense Diaries, guys. Bob and Alibaba over on YouTube here. They've got all kinds of people coming in. I'll make this wider, but it's Aaron Spencer and his family. They got like David Yannetti from the Karen Reed case is going to be there. They've got a couple different people that have been throughout the Karen Reed case. They got Runkle's going to be there. A bunch of people are going to be there. Nick Starro, Broken Baker. There's going to be, see, I'm already on the list. They got Cat Williams going to be there. They got Mark Bedrow. They got a bunch of people showing up, guys. They got more guests coming, but it'll be over on the YouTube channel for Defense Diaries. And yeah, just pop by and, show some support. Certainly I'm sure Aaron would like that there. So I hope that answers the question. Adam says, can the judge say you can't raise money? No. And I mean, the judge can argue, and I got no argument with some goober on this. Yes, if your bond money comes from, criminality, they can keep you from using that. But the idea that people can't, crowd raise money would be preposterous. As I said, what did we see last summer? Like each state had like left-wing groups, or it had bail projects where they were organizing money that they were just posting bond for people. And that was it. So yeah, like those things would be illegal too. And that's not how that's meant to go. Brimstone says, what were the original fighting words, Sean? Let's look it up. I already know. Yes, in the case that he's talking about is Chaplinsky versus New Hampshire. Guys, what were the original fighting words? Well, in that one, Chaplinsky was a Jehovah's Witness who was protesting, involvement in World War II. And he called one of the cops who came up to him to tell him to kick rocks. He called them a racketeer, and he called them a goddamn fascist. And he was arrested for disorderly conduct. And the Supreme Court determined those words would cause an ordinary person to breach the peace and, be tumultuous in response to being labeled as a fascist and a racketeer. So those are the original words. But, obviously you call somebody a fascist today, they might go based. Or if you call somebody a racketeer, they're going to be like, what? So that's what the original case was. Guys, I answered the fundraiser thing here. Jesus, just stop, please. What about the cats? The cats are coming with us. The fighting words comes up more when words are criminalized, but he's on for his physical conduct. Yes, but I think they're going to argue that he antagonized and instigated and was provoking through the use of his words. And normally Chud might say, well, those words are legal. And that's where I think they're going to say these are fighting words. These are words that were solely meant to cause somebody to want to breach the peace. So like I said, it's not exactly going to apply, but you can kind of it's a category of words that fits right into what they're going to argue. I guarantee you they're going to use this term. They're called fighting words. 100% the prosecutor is going to do that. June 5th is also next court date. Yeah, but yeah. So, and yes, Afton, one of Bob and Ali's mods, yes, hosting a thing for Aaron Spencer over on Saturday, 10 a.m. to 10 p. The words here will be used to show a state of mind, not so much to be criminalized, as that is probably a much lesser charge. Yeah, but I think it's just they're going to show that, he clearly wanted these people to fight him. Can I cover the guy who's suing Pokemon because he failed a background check? Yes, the Pokemon professor. He made a video today and sounds insane. I will do that. If you could send me an email with the video this guy did, I would love to take a look at it because it sounds hilarious. Sounds hilarious. Yes, it is Thursday. Danny says, any Florida bar review courses? I don't know yet. I'll worry about that when I get there. Let's see here. What time are we meeting at the lake, Sean? I don't know. Okay. Let me see here. This trial will be a train wreck, yes. J-Rock says, who's Aaron Spencer? Guys, remember, the Aaron Spencer is the father in Arkansas. His daughter was the victim of sexual assault. And one night, he went to his daughter's room, and his daughter was missing. And he hopped into his car and started driving in the neighborhood and found his daughter in a car with the man who is accused of sexually assaulting her. You might call him a pedophile. So Aaron chases the pedophile and his daughter in the car and stops the pedophile, basically crashing him off the road. And the pedophile gets shot like 15 times. I mean, I don't see the problem here, but apparently in Lonoke County, Arkansas, they charge you with murder for that. When, a pedophile's kidnapped your daughter and is in the car with her after he's been charged for sexually assaulting her and has been told as a condition of his bond not to interact with the victim. So Aaron Spencer has been dealing with that. He was facing initially a gag order that was so unconstitutional the Arkansas Supreme Court had to get involved. And then finally the judge was acting so unhinged that the Arkansas Supreme Court at the last minute earlier this year, on the eve of trial, removed the judge entirely from the case. A new judge has been appointed, and there's been a whole slew of filings, which we do need to cover at some point here. Probably sometime next week, we'll get into it. And Aaron's set to go to trial at the end of June, and hopefully it's going to be televised. So not Richard Spencer. Yes, Aaron Spencer is Father of the Year. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Did she willingly go in the car? Doesn't matter. She's 14 years old. He's not allowed to be in the car with the victim that he's accused of raping. It doesn't matter what she did. It doesn't matter what she did. So, does not matter. Does not matter. Let me see here. Rocco says, why not 16? I'm assuming he missed a shot. Based on the fact that Aaron is, probably had a Glock 19 or a Beretta, with 1 in the pipe and 15 in the mag. It sounds like he missed a shot. But he put a lot of rounds into the pedophile. He did a good job. He didn't reload, yes. Yes. I see a serious problem, yes. Yes, I do too. And the funny thing is Aaron Spencer is running for sheriff of Lonoke County as well. Now that this case has turned into a disaster. So we'll find out about what happens there. Now, where did I star that one comment? CA is saying, after you leave Ohio, how is Frank the neighbor supposed to keep you safe? Who's Frank? The neighbor. I don't have a neighbor named Frank. Oh. But thank you. And then Ian Dobb for $10 says, moving sucks, dude. Yeah, it does. And it's, I've moved all around Ohio. And when you're moving from within the same state, you can always I'll move and I'll take a carload and then I'll come run back and take another carload. Even when you're moving 3 hours away, you can run and drop it off and then run back and then load up and then maybe you don't have enough time to make multiple runs. So you sleep and wake up the next day and do a couple more runs over the course of a couple weekends. Yeah, no, we do this all in one blow. We're doing this all at once. It's going to be interesting. Not ready for it. Yes, he's won the Republican primary for sheriff. Yep. Yep, we'll find out. Though. Shipping pods are great for moving. Yeah, but Frank from the great indoors. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. But yeah, no, using a pod, no, man, you pay people to move. We boxed it all up and we had some friends help us out, but no, we box it all up and tell them to move it. Fuck touching the boxes. You can pay somebody to do that now. So, that is it. Now we're going to go on, guys. We have some other things we do need to touch on here. And that is, Sorry, guys. There's so much crap here to get to. Okay, we are getting to... hold on here. Where was I? Okay, no. We're gonna continue on from where we're at. All right, guys. Now, moving on from all of this, we do have kind of an interesting part of the whole Trump lawfare saga against him. And 2.0's home. Great. The dogs might stop barking. So from here, guys, we are dealing with and hold on, chat, 1 second. She's still alive, chat.
Yes. I'm waiting.
So
Hi, Brody. Baby.
I don't know if they had yet because they were all losing their mind. But guys, here's Brody if you hadn't seen him.
He's a good boy.
He's probably going to be our buddy, but we don't know yet. We're waiting to find out.
Yeah. And then there's Klein, who got a haircut.
Yes.
He got his Florida cut.
Here, which you want to take him. Yeah. Yes, guys, and Klein got a haircut, just like me.
Good.
He's all ready.
Hi,
So.
girl. Hi, good boy. Did you miss me? Okay, bye, chat.
All right, Clyde, hold on. Oh, Clyde, Jesus.
What?
He got caught up in my thing here. Oh,
Bye,
hold on one more second.
Bye-bye.
All right, chat. Sorry about that. We were working on stuff here. Yes. Hot Clyde summer. Yes. Yeah. Oh, I didn't mute that. I was just telling her stuff we got wrapped up. So remember Sean had some white in his black hair? Yeah. He's stomping on Brody. Yeah, he was. All right, guys. So we're going to keep going here. Sean learned watching court. You guys can lip read. Yes, of course. All right. So getting back to where we were, guys, this is a bit of the fun part of the Trump saga. Remember, Trump had all kinds of lawfare waged against him. All the garbage in New York, was its own thing. We had Fani Willis completely torpedo what was probably a pretty viable case that at least could have drug out into the election, but she screwed up. And then we had Jack Smith launching his two cases, the one in D.C. and then the one down in Florida regarding what happened at Mar-a-Lago with the alleged, boxes of classified documents. Well, remember that case went away. And in the meantime, this happened, and you love to see it. What happened out of this? Well, an ex-prosecutor was charged over the handling handling the Jack Smith report files and classified files. So remember, they were showing all the boxes of stuff being stored at Mar-a-Lago. And what did one of the prosecutors do? One of the prosecutors did the thing they were in trouble for. Isn't that kind of funny? But anyways, let's shame this woman, and she needs it. Carmen Mercedes Lieneberger, I think, got in trouble here. What did she do? Well, she got indicted out of Southern District of Florida in the Fort Pierce Division, which I don't know where that's at, but I'll have to learn as I am now going to be Florida man. So what was she? She was a managing assistant U.S. attorney, meaning she was a supervisory role of the U.S. Attorney's Office. And that she was there in the Southern District of Florida, and they were handling the Mar-a-Lago stuff through Jack Smith. So what happened? Well, on or about January 16th, 2025, right before Trump was inaugurated, she received via an electronic message on her Department of Justice email account copies of her report entitled Volume 2 report that was filed with the district court in Florida relating to a pending federal criminal prosecution. Trump's. Remember, there were the Jack Smith things there. And on January 21st, Judge Eileen Cannon, presiding over the case, issued an order regarding the report which said the DOJ's officers, its agents, and employees are prohibited from releasing, sharing, or transmitting the report or otherwise distributing it outside the DOJ. The order was issued by the judge and has remained in effect since January 21st, 2025. Then on or about September 22nd, January 2025, she created an electronic document on a government-issued computer. You might say, how do they know that? Your government-issued computers, and if you have an employer, your employee-issued laptops are going to track. They can put stuff on there. Will track everything you do. Opening documents, creating files, copying, deleting, moving things around, renaming them. Through that, she had received on her DOJ email account, as well as portions of an internal DOJ memo containing header and footer markings for official use only, internal DOJ use only. And she saved the compiled documents with the file name Chalky Cake Recipe PDF. You're like, okay. Then on or about September 22nd, again, she transmitted an electronic message from her Hotmail accounts with a subject line of Chalky Cake Recipe. Then on or about December 1st, she accessed the electronic message she received on January 16th, which contained the report, and did another one and altered the name to Bunt Cake Recipe, and resaved the file to her government-issued computer. And then what did she do? She sent it to her Gmail account with the message Bunt Cake Recipe. From there, she transmitted a second electronic message from her personal Gmail with a subject line of Bunt Cake Recipe, which included the file names. Whoa, well, that sounds kind of dumb. So what did she do? Well, she did knowingly embezzle, steal, or convert for her own use without authority and disposed of any record or property of the United States. To wit, what did she do? Well, it was part of the Jack Smith report. And they had official use only, internal DOJ use only. Those are like those markings, classification markings. So that violates 18 U.S.C. 641. And then count two. What did she do? Well, she not only altered, concealed, and covered up a record and document with the intent to impede or obstruct or influence compliance with a court order. And it's 18 U.S.C. 1519. Count three. What did she do here? She willfully and lawfully concealed and removed records and documents filed with a clerk and officer of the Court of the United States. Wow, it's just, they keep on, she's getting whammied on this. You're just like, you love to see it. You love to see it, chat. This is just beautiful. It's just like Becky Hill. Oh, no, this is worse than Becky Hill. Count four. She's knowing, embezzling, and stealing stuff. So a copy of the report. Remember, she did it twice, so it's going to be basically repeats of all this stuff. And who got involved in this? Todd Blanche. And these are special attorney of the United States attorney. Like, they brought in some people to come after her, and it's like based. So imagine that. You're like, nobody's above the law. I'm stuck. And then when this happens, you're like, I'm going to start stealing documents. Well, how did that work out for you? How'd that work out for you, sweetheart? Good job on that one. Good job. So she effed herself? Oh, yeah. She knew better than to do this. She wanted to resist. So it wasn't a bunk cake recipe. No. She was trying to resist, and that's what she's going to get. So we'll see what happens there. We'll cover this, and it's just hopefully she suffers. Now, Crystal, you were asking, am I licensed in Florida yet? No. Florida does not allow you to waive into the state of Florida. I have to take the Florida bar exam. So I will not be... Best case scenario, I'll be an attorney by this time next year in Florida. So... And then Erica Thorpe for $4.99 says, for the gold. Be like me, chat. Yes, be like her, chat. 100%. Also, by the way, guys, yes, wait until they, yes, LK, yes, wait until they disclose which report she was trying to give to people, yes. Yeah, part of the Jack Smith reports, yeah. No, there's no cake. Todd Blanche might have a conflict. Well, he's the acting U.S. attorney, so attorney general. So he won't personally be on the case. It's just he's got to be there. So we'll see what happens there. But no, yeah, I will have to take the bar exam down there. So it's just best of luck to me. Well, thank you. Well, we'll be here for that. We'll document the story and the process as it goes. Also, Kurt, I think you were here earlier. Hello. Hope you're doing well, man. It's kind of sucking the bar exam again. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not looking forward to it. You're not looking forward to that. Of course, it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun. But yeah, I love to see these people. It's good to see these people suffer for what they did. If you don't pass the bar, you can become a nuisance streamer. I'll pass on that. All right, guys, this was funny. This one 2.0 sent me. And a guy drove his Cybetruck into a lake in Texas. And he's like, I'll use wading mode. And wading means like you could go into shallow waters. But he drove it into a lake. So what happened? Well, the police had to come and save a guy who crashed his truck into a lake. And they found the truck in the water. And the guy said he intentionally drove the vehicle to use its wading mode. However, the Cybetruck got disabled and took on water, which prompted them to abandon it. Which, you know, great work there. Great work there. And yes, what does that wading mode mean? Like it's like a Humvee. It can wade through water. Except it doesn't need a snorkel because it's not internal combustion. But it can go through bodies of river like creeks and rivers. However, the maximum water depth should only be 32 inches, measuring from the bottom of the tire. And yes, they were able to move the truck from the lake, which that could have been a thing. Like, imagine if those lithium batteries in the Tesla caught fire and just been like, woof. That would have been so bad. Yes, Bob, wading like you wade out into water or you wade across a shallow stream. That is a technical term. So he was arrested, and this is where it's like, he must have really pissed them off because he got arrested and charged with operation of vehicle in a closed section of the lake, not having a valid boat registration. You know, they're like, no, sir, that's also a boat now. Do you have a registration for it? No. And since it's a boat, do you have safety equipment? No, that's another violation. And this is actually a very funny example of what happens when the cops really hate your guts. If the cops really hate your guts, they will come up with all kinds of ways to make you suffer. They will make you suffer so bad. And I just think it's funny. They're like, oh, you're bouldering violations now too. So the police are like, look, you know, don't drive into a lake. And also, if you put yourself into danger, you might be liable for the rescue, especially if you drive into shallow water. Be very careful about it. But yes, I like that how it's like, not only are you driving a car, but you're also having a boat, sir. Oh, you're treating it like a boat? Okay, well, now you have the boat rules. Do you have a troll motor on this? No. Okay, well, that's another ticket. So, yeah, it's great. It's great news how they're doing all that. Chat, hold on one second. I need to blow my nose. Yep, no life jackets, ticket. Have you taken a boater safety course? Ticket. You know, do you have lights on your boat? Ticket. They're all going to be tickets, chat. Elon should cover this guy's legal fees. That would be hilarious. He might. He's enough of a goober that he would do that. All right, guys. Now, moving on from here. A little bit more light. Well, it's not lighthearted, but this is a good thing that happened. This is a good thing that happened. If you guys remember when Charlie Kirk was murdered by Tyler Robinson, you know, many people on the left were cheering for it. But there was one case of a guy who got arrested for posting a meme. And it really, we talked about it, was absolutely garbage what happened to him. And that guy was Larry Bouchard. He was a guy in Tennessee, speaking of Tennessee, with Chud and all them. This is a guy in Tennessee. He sued the Tennessee sheriff who jailed him after he spent 37 days in jail. And they finally dismissed the charges against him. And he's getting $835,000 out of this, which is very fair. I think it's very fair. And this is Larry Bouchard. He's a former cop himself. And what did he do? Well, he posted a meme of Charlie Kirk. And he was charged with a felony. He's the only person in response to the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's death, other than Tyler Robinson's the only other person that's ever been charged in connection to it. So what did he do? Well, he shared a meme, and this is the meme he shared. You know, and he's just saying, you know, we have to get over it. And he's just throwing Trump's words back at him. And he spent 37 days in jail and he got $835,000 for it. You guys might say 37 days ain't bad. Problem is, though, it hurt him. It really destroyed his life. You know, his bail got set at $2 million. You know, they're claiming he threatened violence. And he had to stay in jail until the charges got dropped. And it caused him all kinds of problems. He was basically just hauled off to jail at gunpoint. And he didn't know what happened. Like, you know, what are you supposed to do? But there's all kinds of issues that got, you know, like, how does it work? Like, you know, you've got a home, you've got a job, you've got all kinds of things that are going to happen here. You know, like, thankfully, you know, think about it. If you had a job, you'd lose your job. If you had to make payments on a car, guess what? It's probably getting repoed by then. If you had rent, you're probably getting evicted. So, there's all kinds of things that could have happened to this guy. All kinds of things. All kinds of things. And it causes so many problems for people. You know, thankfully he's retired, which, you know, helps a lot, but what are you supposed to do at that point? You know, it caused stress to him and his family. And, you know, I'm sure this guy was stressed out all kinds of ways. But he totally, like, you know, what are you supposed to do there? You know, thankfully he didn't get hurt in jail, but, like, people getting attacked in jail is not an uncommon thing. It's absolutely not uncommon at all. Yeah, he could have been assaulted in jail. He could have been killed in jail. All because he put a meme up and people acted like assholes to him. So, good on him for winning. 37 days is in a billing cycle, Sean, and grace period. Yeah, but, you know, you have to worry about that in the meantime. Is that going to count? I mean, maybe, maybe not. Stacey says, take your pinch like a man. Yeah, well, he did, but damn, that is rough. No, Mayo says, I do 37 days for 830 grand, and I'd slow my hairy crescent to be violated. J-Rock says, did he have more than 835K before? No, I doubt it. So, yeah. Provided that he wasn't violated during those 37 days. Well, that's a big if. It's a big if. And then Bald Eagle says, yet that POS was likely cheering when other people had their lives ruined for saying the wrong thing when Biden was in office. Don't have any pity for him. No, but I do have pity. I do like seeing that the scumbag cops in his jurisdiction were held accountable. Because the police that'll do that to you will do that to anybody. And if they'll do it to him, they'll do it to you. They'll do it to you. To you. Next. You have to be careful of that. 12th Monkey says, I would for sure take that deal. I mean, I could see taking that, but, you might lose everything in the process. That's easy to say, but, I've had clients in this situations. They get released from jail, but in the meantime, they've been in jail for so long, they lost their house, they lost their housing, they lost their car. They basically have to start all over again as a homeless person. Now, talking about other settlements, and this is actually a good segue to get us into other settlements here. There are some settlements regarding the DOJ and its weaponization of the legal system against parties. And this one's a little interesting here. This is the DOJ. They are doing a anti-weaponization fund. So what was this? Something that was created? What is it going to do? Well, there's a lot of it's going to do. It's created to hear and redress claims of Americans who suffer from lawfare and weaponization, using government power to target them. And the fund is being set up. It results from a case involving unlawfully leaking tax returns, Trump's returns, unlawfully searching the president's home, and improperly targeting and investigating the president. Yes. But also remember, guys, there were the entire group of senators. They were illegally wiretapped and looked into as well. Although, what did those guys get to do? They created their own slush funds where they had their own money rolling in. So it's a little different than what's going on here. But I do think it's important that at the end of the day, we have some resolution to this, because it's going to happen again and again and again. And maybe this is what stops it. And if it doesn't, at least people are getting compensation and recompense for it. Now, obviously, this is all about Trump. If this hadn't happened to Trump, he wouldn't have cared. Whatever. But a lot of people did get hosed over and screwed by the problems. So what is some of the other stuff that occurred here? Well, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into what this actually shows. And remember, they leaked Trump's tax returns. A IRS guy did that, and they did figure out the guy who did it. And they got him. He's now serving 5 years in prison. He's partway through it now, but I'm sure that's good that one guy got in trouble, but I can't believe it was just him. There were multiple parties involved in all that. We saw Lois Lerner and how she handled the Tea Party people. We've seen all kinds of stuff get done by the government against primarily right-wing people. We remember we had the Loudoun County schools, and during COVID, people who were challenging school boards, the FBI said, be on the lookout for. So what is it about? So it's about accountability for all Americans. Senators whose records were subpoenaed, churchgoers targeted by the FBI, and so on. Submission of a claim is voluntary. Nobody's required to do it. That is why court approval was not required. There is no partisan restriction. Democrats can submit claims too. Now, people are saying January 6th police on Capitol Hill should file. I think that's actually hilarious and kind of a troll. But you know what? Screw it. Troll it. See what happens. Let's get some lulls. Let's get some lulls, chat. Let's get some lulls. Let's get some sobs. So what is this then? As part of the settlement, Trump, his sons, and the Trump organization will receive a formal apology, but no monetary payment. Okay, that's pretty good. Crystal saying, doesn't the government have better things to do? I would argue righting the wrongs suffered by its populace is one of the things it should do. And then, real quick, Bama Law is saying, from update from my job, we're not deporting anywhere near the numbers we were in February. In fact, it's all just stopped. Well, that sucks. Damn, we need to afuera them all. Pokemon, gotta afuera them all. Patty F says, what about your cats? Where are they going? They are coming with us. Chewy and Callie are coming with us. So what does it say? Well, this will consist of 5 members appointed by the Attorney General. 1 member will be chosen after consulting with congressional leadership. They'll be tasked with getting guidelines for applying to the fund, which, that's going to take 6 months to a year. So it's going to keep going, guys. It's never going to end right away. Claims are awarded on a case-by-case basis, which means a lot of people are going to get denied. This structure is not with precedent. There was a case called Keeps Eagle, a group of Native American farmers sued alleging racism over decades. The Obama DOJ settled by putting $680 million from the judgment into a bank account for single claims administrators to dole out. Now, how's this going to work? The funding will come from the Judgment Fund, which is a perpetual appropriation created by Congress in 1956, allowing DOJ to settle cases. And the details are rarely made public. The fund will receive $1.776 billion. I mean, Now, I get it. Like, Trump does this to be patriotic. He's not, like, does Trump really like America? I don't know, but at least he leans into it. A fair estimate of potential claims, given that literally tens of millions of Americans were subjected to improper and unlawful government targeting, including extensive government censorship and aggressive lawfare. The acting AG executed a separate document releasing claims that were or could have been brought in litigation, including the IRS right to audit the president and his family and his companies. We're going to cover that in a second. That is standard in litigation. It does not apply to future tax actions the president and his family and companies may take. And this is kind of important. They put that in here because everybody started shitting their pants. On a quarterly basis, the funds will send a report to the Attorney General outlining who's received relief, what form of relief is there. The fund can be audited, including by third parties, or another president can stop the fund. To ensure a swift process, the fund shall cease processing claims in 2028. Any money left will revert back to the federal government. Now, they claim that they're going to end this in 2028, but who knows if this is still going. Crystal says, Sean, again, when you're in Florida, you have to stream with Steve Gosney. I've actually talked to Steve. I told him I was coming down, and he is thrilled. We're gonna set something up. Him and I are gonna get together. We're gonna have a lot of fun. So, yeah, it's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a good time. We're looking forward to it. You are the ICE prosecutor there. Wow, I am the FUERA man. Well, keep it up the good work, man. Got to catch them all. Got to catch them all, Ash. So, thank you for being here on that. We salute you. So now moving on to this, what is the IRS thing here? Well, remember, Trump's tax returns got leaked, and that was awful. And as much as people on the left were upset about this, like, what do you do in response to that? I mean, there has to be some sort of recourse. So what happened? Well, they set up this agreement here. The settlement agreement, Trump versus Internal Revenue Service. Okay, well, what's it say? The settlement agreement directed the Attorney General to issue an order establishing irrelevant requirements for the fund. So settlement agreement. Okay, well, what is it? Well, this is a pretty good waiver that is normal. The United States releases, waives, acquits, and forever discharges from each of the plaintiffs from, and is hereby forever barred and precluded from prosecuting or pursuing any and all claims, counterclaims, causes of action, appeals, or requests for any relief, including injunctive relief, monetary relief, damages, examinations, or related reviews, appeals, debt relief, costs, attorney's fees, expenses, and or interest, whether presently known or unknown, that as of the effective date of the settlement agreement. So the effective date of the settlement agreement. Well, basically, here's the effective date. That have been or could have been asserted by the defendants, meaning the government, against any of the plaintiffs or related individuals, including family or others filing jointly, or parties including trust, parent, sister, related companies, meaning all the Trump organization, anything he's got out there. Sorry, guys. I'm confused by what you mean here, Patty. You're saying Is it true the deputies that were put on the Brady list? I don't know what you mean for that. I don't know what you mean for that. So, anyway, they talk about all this, its affiliate subsidiaries and everything here, which arise out of any matters that were raised or could have been raised in the case or the pending agency claims, lawfare or weaponization, and any matters currently pending or that could be pending, including tax returns filed before the effective date, before the defendants or other agencies or departments. So it's a DOJ releasing everything up to this date. Up to this date, everything from here on back. Can't touch. But everything from this date forward, well, it's all fair game. And honestly, I don't feel bad for this situation here. Basically, the IRS has dropped investigations for prior infractions. Yeah, but you know what? The IRS has demonstrated it couldn't be trusted. They were being very vindictive. They were leaking tax returns and they were auditing it, being ridiculous. Well, guess what happens? And I kept on bringing this up to people on Twitter. It's like, what did you expect to happen? Gee, imagine if the IRS hadn't done all the crap it did. If they hadn't done the thing they were told not to do, well, we wouldn't be here right now. We wouldn't be here right now. So it's just something to think about. It is just something to think about, chat. It is a thing and a way to look at this. It is a way to look at this right now. So now moving on from there, guys. Real quick, we are going to go over this later, but Alex Murdaugh is suing Becky Hill. And he is suing her under a 42 USC 1983. He's suing her for deprivation of rights under the color of law. Now, this is going to be an interesting case to talk about because he's suing Becky as the clerk of court for Carleton County. She is a government official. So not only can police get sued for this, but any government officials can. Not every government employee can, but a lot of government employees can. There are situations where teachers could get sued for this. There are ways that janitors mopping the floor at the courthouse could get sued for it. But generally speaking, you got to have something happen here. And Becky's being sued at her role as the clerk because remember, she had a role in the court case and she fucked around in it. Now, there's some interesting theories that are coming about here, and I think there's some things here for Becky, such as Becky might be able to argue that she has absolute immunity, not even just qualified immunity. Because as a government employee, she could claim qualified immunity in certain situations. I think in this situation, she could probably claim absolute immunity because she's acting on behalf of the judge doing judicial work when she was in this situation. Because remember, as a clerk of court, she's involved in helping the judge. But had she not been involved in that trial, she wouldn't have been helping the judge. It's a very interesting way to look at things and how this is working out. Now, that said, do I hope that he breaks Becky Hill's back and that's not true and he can crush her like a bug? I hope he does. But as Murray was saying, she's working in her capacity as an agent of the judge. I think she's got a lot of immunity claims she could assert. We'll go through this, though, coming up here. It's already 11:30. We're not going to get into it tonight, guys, but it is a thing here. You're saying it'd at least be like suing a prosecutor? Yeah, but I think it's more akin to you're suing the judge. And this is like if I tried to sue the judicial assistant or the bailiff. Because I'm suing one of the judge's employees. And while Becky isn't one of his employees, she's in a quasi role of carrying out the judge's orders. So I think I think that Alex got a problem here. But you know what, though? Becky deserves to suffer. I hope the lawsuit goes forward, and I hope she suffers ultimately. But we'll see here. We will see here about that. So she should suffer at this point. Didn't the court make a legal determination she was a scumbag? Doesn't that break her legal immunity? No, she still has immunity. Remember, guys, when it comes to qualified immunity, all they have to say is like, we didn't know we couldn't do that. There's no court case saying not to do that. And you know what courts say? Yeah, I guess. Now, absolute immunity is what judges have, and you don't even get to question them. You have an obligation to try to show absolute immunity doesn't apply. And John Bryan, civil rights lawyer, showed us that one case where in West Virginia, the judge in a divorce case brought all the parties out to a house and threatened the homeowner, the husband, that she could search the house. Luke is saying Remmer and Parker will break QI. Yeah, it might break qualified immunity, but it might not break absolute immunity. I don't think it's going to break absolute immunity here, man. So I think there's a lot, yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, with absolute immunity, yes, you could be a massive piece of shit and be immune. Yep. I agree. And that's the thing, guys. She's probably going to skate on that. I hope she doesn't, but I see that being the likely outcome. We'll read the case at some point here, but that's just me telling you what I think is going to happen. You guys want to take that, put a pin in it? That's my lock of the week, actually. We'll put it in like that. I need to be like that guy in The Simpsons where it's like, it's my shoe-in of the week, or it's my lock of the week. Bama Law says, I got to go to bed, have to deport Kazakhstanis and Indian fuckers. Yep. Well, good luck. Once again, Godspeed out there, man. And yeah, the idea is if you sued for what you did as a judge, then all judges would be sued. The same thing with the clerks, I think. Yeah, but that's where it's going to be. We'll see. Because normally when she's just being clerk, she's not going to be having absolute immunity. But while she's in the courtroom, I would argue she probably does. So we will see. Yes, thank you for your cervix. Yes, and 07s to the Afuera man out there. So we'll find out. We will find out what happens there. I do think it's going to be a very interesting case. And then let's see here. Where is, and like I said, guys, I'm sorry we don't have time to get into it, but we just don't deny it. And then where did this one just came in? We will hold on to this one for next week, because that'll be funny once we see if there's updates in it. And then yes, potentially Jim Cramer, yes. Yes, Skadex says, Sir, no, this is my coupon of peace, sir. It is 6 inches for reasons Vishnu guarantees me, sir. I also wouldn't think she'd get immunity, but it's a possible defense. Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what the courts do. We'll see what they do from your lips to God's ears. I'm just telling you the realities of what I think is going to happen, chat. All right, guys, we are, actually we'll get into, no, we'll skip this one. Yeah, we'll skip this one for now. We'll come back to this for next week. Real quick, if you guys were not aware and you weren't here last night. Oh, wow, those numbers just like jumped all over the place. What happened to that judge? She illegally searched and was brazen. Oh, she lost. She got denied immunity and she had to settle. Is there going to be a locals case? Locals tonight? No. We've got the movers are coming actually like from anywhere from 8 to 10 a.m. We got to be ready. I got to be up in the morning, so I'm sorry. I apologize for that, chat, but no, we need models now. You're going to have nothing after this. Once we're done, we're done. 2.0 are going to go through the house real quick, and then we're going to go lay down because we got to be up in the morning. Last thing, chat, and we covered it last night a little bit. Ethan Kline case versus Frogan. I know some people wanted me to cover this tonight. Ethan Kline requested a default judgment against Frogan, and ultimately they point out that this case has been pending for a long time. And Ethan filed this case back in June of 2025. And it's been sitting. So on June 2025, they filed this. In July, she was served with the complaint. In August, Ethan's attorneys and Frogan's attorneys, again, remember, Ethan Kline is suing Frogan, Casey Tron, and Denims, who are all three Hassan Piker orbiters, for copyright infringement for streaming his content nuke and streaming the premiere of a video he did as it was going live with the sole intent of depriving Ethan Kline of revenue from views and hate watching by watching and stream sniping him. So what happened here? Well, the attorneys agreed on both sides to extend the deadlines from August 4th to October 3rd. And then ultimately from August 5th until April 20th, 2026, Ethan Kline and Frogan engaged in settlement negotiations, which we kind of thought was happening. Because remember, we said for months there had been no updates, so they must have been trying to work something out. Well, ultimately, the negotiations failed. On April 20th, Ethan Kline informed Frogan that they intended to proceed with litigation and provided Frogan 3 weeks to respond to the complaint. They say ultimately her deadline to respond to the complaint would have been May 11th. Well, guys, chat days went and gone, and Frogan offered nothing. And this is this is an exhibit, but this is the email. And this is from Rom. This is Ethan Kline's attorney. This is Ethan Kline's attorney. And this down below to the two is Barham Nikina. Nikia, I don't know how you say his name. Anyway, they point out your counteroffer was not well received by my client or myself. And that's their way of saying, we find this highly laughable. We thought this was ridiculous. Who the hell do you think you are? Like, there's no way we're going to accept this, is what they're saying. Your counteroffer is not well received. And they say our generosity was repaid with numerous incorrect factual and legal assertions. I mean, you guys just made up a bunch of crap. And they said, it's Ethan's attorney saying it is clear that our settlement discussions have been unproductive and we need to move forward with litigation. That's fair. Now you might say, well, wait, if they've gone past the deadlines, how can they give your client has 3 weeks to file a responsive pleading? Because you're going to have to give a deadline. It prevents them from coming back later and saying, Your Honor, we never got time. Well, you know what? They're going out of the way to show we've done everything to insulate this from any problems. Any problems. And what happened from here? Well, she never responded. And Ethan Kline, as of yesterday, got a default judgment or default by the clerk. So they got default. And from here, they will go to the court to establish damages. And that will settle things for Frogan. Certainly, Frogan might try to come back and say, wait. But for her, unlike a lot of parties who never responded to anything, she responded to a lot and had an attorney that she retained. So it's going to be tough for her to make those arguments. She still might get away with it, but they might just tell her to suffer. They might just tell her to suffer. Am I going to practice my bedroom echoes? The doggo sure got quiet. Well, 2.0's home, so I need Modafinil to focus on him. Yeah, I'll be all right. Oh, let's see here. Great show. Been listening and reading your excellent chats. Well, of course, our chat here is the best around. It's better than Foxu's chat. Yes, that's right. I said it, Foxu. We have better chatters than you. We don't even have honorable chatters. We have chatters emeritus, esteemed chatters. So, but anyways, that's the situation for Frogan and Ethan Kline. Tomorrow night, guys, we are going to go through. We should be able to. I don't know, timing wise, but we will go through Pixie's motion for spoliation of evidence and sanctions against Destiny. And we talked about all these problems with the handling of evidence in this case, especially on Destiny's side. And we will go through that and we'll discuss what Pixie's arguing and how it's actually probably going to work out. And we will do that. Oh, if we were all caught up, chat. Yes, I wouldn't go that far. No, I think you guys are the best. Absolutely the best. You guys do nothing but show love. And I can't get over that. I can't get over that. So, yes, chat strong together. Yes. And we have Scottish Shatters too. Yes. It's like 5 o'clock over there. So thank you for being here in the morning, mate. Oi, mate. Eat you some haggis. Apologize, Doe, insulting the Holy Father. All right, with that said, guys, I will see you guys tomorrow. Like I said, we will cover some Pixie and Destiny stuff. And but yes, our love is a snarky love, yes. So with chat, until next time, please remember, just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. That means you. Boop. That means you, chat. We say pal over here, pal. Why would you say pal instead of mate, mate? You what, mate? Good night, chat. You guys take care, and I will see you guys all later. Oh, chat.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the